we're being toxic. Got a lot going on around me. This is like my moving prep because I mentioned in the last video that we have about 2 months now until our lease is up, and so since I am unemployed and have a lot of time on my hands, I'm trying to make sure that we're not like holding on to anything that isn't going to be valuable to move with us, and trying to do that before the moving process actually starts, so that like once we actually have to move, it's only stuff that, you know, I want to have around. So like I have a whole pile here of clothes that I'm gonna donate and just figuring out things basically. But hi, I'm Anna. Little introduction. You've come at a funny time in my life where I am currently unemployed. I did get a job offer yesterday, so that's kind of like in the works. We're working on it right now, but I mean, until that point and until I even know what my start date is, we're just kind of vibing, which is fun but weird, you know. In about, oh, actually in exactly an hour, I have a haircut. I don't think I'm gonna do anything crazy. Last August when I got my haircut, I like chopped it to my shoulders, and it's been gaining some length since then. It's actually a new person I'm going to. It's still the same salon, but I've gone to the same person since being in Atlanta, so they probably cut my hair like 4 or 5 times, and now that person no longer does hair, and so they just put me on someone who has like a similar price point at the salon that I'm going to. And I think this is the picture. Can you see that with the glare? This is the picture I'm going to show. I just like long layers, and I want to definitely get more like of the kind of ponytail pieces. I feel like I have like accidental ones now that's just from hair growth. So we're doing that in a little bit. I want to run some errands while I'm out. I feel like it's been a long time since I've been just like a part of society. I mostly have just been kind of hanging out in this little apartment of mine, doing little projects and reading and chilling and playing Mario Kart and waiting for calls and waiting for emails. So I don't know exactly what that'll look like today, but I do want at least a little bit more action today than I've been getting in the past couple weeks.
4 feet on the stripes in the Alabama highway, out there in the open, just a wishing and a hoping. I could smell the pines when I let you in the doorway. Took the seat next to mine like you've been there before.
So 2 exciting things. I did get my hair cut, as I told you I was going to. I stopped by Virginia Highlands Books on the way there because they're right close to each other. Didn't get anything because, remember, unemployed. I don't know if I've mentioned that yet or not. So trying to save money a little bit, trying not to shop around. We basically just did kind of what I told you, where not too much off in length, just kind of added more layers, and there are some, there's some various short pieces going on up here that can kind of fall out a little bit more and everything. So feeling good about that. And then I also got a call while I was in the hair salon, so I didn't see it until afterwards. Remember how in last video it was this video ends when I get a job, and I got the job offer, and I mentioned how I was like negotiating, so I was waiting to accept the job offer. But I talked to the person today and I did accept my job offer. So the things that are still in talk are the starting date. I'm not positive when I'll start yet. We're kind of figuring out how that's going to work with the orientation and when training will be able to be, that I'll be able to be there, but it likely won't be for like another month, which is wild. So I don't know. I'm gonna wait to like start making plans in my head until whenever I actually know the start date. But if it really is going to be for another month, then I might go home for a little bit, back to the homeland, Missouri. If you need some Missouri vlogs coming your way, I'm willing to provide. But then other than that, I don't know for sure. So I'll let you know more whenever I know more. I did have books that I wanted to return to the library, and I also thought about stopping by Target to get Drano because my sink is not draining right now. It's a problem I have occasionally. I don't know why the sink does it though, because the shower makes sense because then at least like, okay, hair is probably building up, but the sink, I don't know. But I just came back home instead right after my haircut because they're gonna call me back sometime relatively soon, and also I was hungry, so I figure I'll just go back out later to do the rest of the things and kind of just hang out and keep working on all of this that I got going on. I should have guessed the fact that once I got back home and like was home that I wouldn't want to leave out again, so I really should have just run all of my errands. It's fine, it's whatever. But I'm gonna head to the library now. I kept trying to put it off in my head, like, oh, I probably don't actually need to when like my book is due today, and then I also need to renew my library card. So it's like, no, I should go today, and now I've just waited until the traffic is worse. And now we'll go. But that's fine, that's fine. Sometimes the chaos that we endure in days is self-created, and that's just the way that it's gonna be.
I'm befriended in an illusion.
new day, new errands, and I managed to not put them off until rush hour this time, but I'm about to head into Target, which hurts a little bit because as I think I've mentioned, I'm trying not to like shop. But last night, Zach and I ended up getting really busy. I wasn't really fully intending on going through everything like I was in the morning. Like I thought I was just going to take the apartment piece by piece of like going through, throwing things away, pulling donation bags type things. But then whenever Zach got home, he was all gung-ho for it, and so we ended up going like under the bed, we went in the closet, we went up to the loft, everything. And so that was very productive and kind of fun too. And I feel like we kind of were able to unload a lot of things that we just held on to just because we haven't like taken the energy to go through those drawers, you know, or whatever. So that was nice. But Target time now.
Could never stand to lose you. Get by when you're at my side. I'm befriended.
So whenever I posted the quitting video a few weeks ago at this point, or like a week ago, I don't know how long it's been, I let people know that if they had any questions to put them in the comments of that video so I could kind of like talk more about what people are curious about as far as that process went with me ending my job. So I think I'm just gonna like drop tidbits here and then, make it be a little chatty throughout this video. But a couple things that people asked is like how I actually quit, like how the process of resigning goes. And so I think it very much just like depends on your company, if they have like a set layout, like a set policy for you about how to resign. Because I've heard that some do, and then also just with like what your chain of command above you looks like, and also I feel like with your relationship with them. So for me personally, I had basically two people who were technically over me. One of them was like actually in my like discipline, like oversaw like us as a quality job doing the mental health type things, and she didn't work in the same facility as I did. Like she wasn't on site all the time. She would come on site every now and again, but not all of the time. And then the other person was like an on-site supervisor who like sometimes led meetings and stuff. And so I knew that I had to let both of those people know that I was resigning, but I felt like with the relationship that I had with the offsite supervisor, I didn't want to just send an email, and since she's offsite, I couldn't like set up a meeting that easily without her knowing, you know, like what it was going to be for. And so what I did was I called her at some point in the morning and was like, hey, do you have a second? And basically just talked to her over the phone. It was like, I wanted to let you know before I sent the email so that it wouldn't just be a bomb in your inbox waiting, but I like am going to resign from this position. And I let her know like when my end date was and everything. And so we were kind of able to talk through that, and then we were able to schedule an exit interview that I was going to do with her where she would come on site to talk to me on my last day. And then after talking to her, I sent the email and sent it to both of my supervisors, the on-site one and the off-site one. And I guess this like gives a little bit of a picture into the workplace environment. My on-site supervisor never talked to me about it ever. They liked the message, like they liked the email on Outlook, and never responded, never spoke to me ever again, even on my last day, like nothing. But in that email, I basically just said like an appreciation, like thank you for, you know, your roles and for the opportunity to have this position. I forget exactly what the wording was, but this email is like my formal notice of resignation effective however many weeks from that day on whichever day was my last day. That's kind of how I went about the process of quitting. I don't know if that's right or not. I don't really know like what the norms are, like how you're supposed to do that well, but that is what I did. And then I ended up having to follow up with HR because it was like through the grapevine, I heard that HR was looking for me, but like they never reached out to me. So I ended up going to them, and this was probably a week and a half after I put in my resignation. And they were like, yeah, we're waiting for you to officially resign so that we can like list the position and everything. And I had it printed off, and I was like, I officially resigned on this date. And I sent it to the people I was supposed to send it to. And then a few days after that, one of the HR people saw me like in the hallway, and this still was like before my end date because I gave notice, you know, so like even though I resigned, I still was finishing out my work. And she saw me in the hallway and she's like, oh, we thought you'd been gone by now. And I was like, no, I'm still here. So it was kind of weird towards the end of like the process, and I don't know if I messed that up somehow or if just the process wasn't going to be smooth, but that's how it went for me. And then another question was like, when did I know that I needed to resign? Was it a slow burn or was it like one single moment? And I think for me, it wasn't necessarily the decision to resign that changed, because I always knew that that position wasn't going to be long term for me. And a lot what played into that was the fact that I kind of talked about in the quitting video about how there was no like upward movement that I wanted to do, and also it just wasn't an environment that I wanted to be in as far as like jail goes forever. It was pretty limited in like professional development and support and everything. And originally I thought that maybe we'd be moving this upcoming summer, so I thought that I was going to work from June until the end of May, like do one full calendar year in this job. And so for me, whenever it was the decision to resign, it wasn't, oh, like I saw myself here for 20 years and now I don't anymore. It was more so figuring out like, I'm not gonna wait until May to resign. I'm going to resign earlier than May. I think a lot of it was a slow burn because I kept thinking like, oh, you can just push through it. You can just push through it. But I think also just a lot of things started adding up. So it wasn't like, oh, one specific thing in particular that made me realize I couldn't be there anymore. But it was just it was a very toxic work environment, like a very hostile work environment. And that's the kind of tough thing, is that like being in jail, it was going to be a tough environment regardless, just because of jail. But then actually like within the work environment as a whole, it was a very like toxic, hostile one as well. So it was just kind of the double, I don't know, double-edged sword, double shot to the heart. I feel like the first time that I was like, what? Like this is not normal, not right, there was a time in November where me and my entire team were called into an administrator's office to basically just get like yelled at and berated for about an hour, just like randomly in the middle of the day when like everyone had things to do. It didn't feel like a necessary meeting and it was like very unprofessional and rude. Off of work, honestly, not a good day. I had an impromptu meeting, so I ended up leaving late. It is currently 4:50 and it was an awful day, and I feel like I just keep getting tried. It was after that meeting where I didn't feel like hurt by anything, because I was like, this is ridiculous. Like this is not supposed to work this way. And so there'd be various things like that like I would never ever talk about in vlogs because I was working there and didn't want to be unprofessional, but like very unprofessional things that went on that was just like, usually work environments don't work like this. And me having to learn of like, oh, do they actually though? Because like this is my first time in a job, and then be like, no, this is like not normal. Or even just like in weekly meetings or something, various like administrators just being like really disrespectful and rude, to where again it's like, what? Like why is this normalized? So I feel like those types of things started adding on to where it's like, okay, I already feel burnt out, I don't feel supported, and then also like we're being toxic. It just like wasn't a normal work environment. So I was like, I need to find something else. So I'd say it's more of a slow burn. And then it was kind of I'm gonna find opportunities as they come up. And so then when opportunities started coming up that I felt like good about and secure about, that's when I decided the time was right to resign. Y'all, this has been a big day. So since we talked last, I have officially signed the offer letter for my new job, which is very exciting. I mentioned it. Did I mention it in this video yet? I know I mentioned it at the end of last video, but I'm going to be a medical social worker working with children at a very cool place. Like I'm so excited for the employer that I get to work for, which I think is very cool because that hasn't been the case before. So that's official. Signed the offer letter, started the background check process, and then my start date is in 25 days, so I still have a while, but it gives me time to prepare. And then also we found out that we were approved for the apartment that we applied for, which I'm very excited for. It will be a whole lot smaller than this apartment, but that honestly has been the goal, because this apartment is probably the only like place that most of you have ever seen me live. One, this apartment was heck to move into. There was so many things that went on. Honestly, my summer 2021 videos are chaotic, but they'd be good to watch so you know all that happened to get us to this apartment. But it is huge. It is me, Zach, and our roommate Jason who live here, and it technically is a 3-bedroom. Obviously Zach and I share a bedroom because the loft upstairs is the 3rd bedroom, so it's 3-bed, 2.5 bath, and it's about 1,700 square feet, which is so many square feet. There are good house sizes that have less square feet than that, but the issue with this apartment is that it's so much dead space. Like the space in the living room and the kitchen and that whole area and hallway and everything is the majority of the square footage, but like it's just the kitchen and the living room. So granted, we probably could have been more creative with how to use up the space, but it just feels like so much dead space, and it also feels like way too much area for, I don't know, me to be occupying. Like I want it to be cozier, and it's not cozy because it's 1,700 freaking square feet. So in the new apartment that we're moving into, it's a 700 footer, which is definitely not huge, but also like there'll be room to live. There's closet space, and we'll have an extra room too. So like it's 700 square feet, but we'll have an upper area again. So I'm excited for it. And we have a week between leases this time, like in the good way, like overlap. Last time when we moved, it ended up being, there was 11 days, like one lease ended, there was 11 days, and then the next lease started, which was not good, And this time we have one lease beginning, 7 days, and then the other lease ends. So we'll be able to just like slowly move, transfer things. I'm still looking forward to it. So many good things like came to fruition today, I feel like. I'm gonna go work out. I haven't for the past 2 days because I took little rest days, and then also I had the strongest like PMS yesterday than I have in a very long time. So I guess just like sometimes it's different, but I was not feeling well yesterday, and today I don't feel great, but it's like a lot more manageable than yesterday. So I'm gonna try to do a little workout. I think the one that is scheduled, yeah, it's a unilateral lower body challenge, so seems kind of fun. That means like one-legged moves. Big day, big day.
Flowers start to bloom, just like me and you. And I feel a change. Letting the light shine in.
It is so far into the PM before I started vlogging today because I guess I just forgot like who I am and what I'm doing for these unemployed weeks. But hi, happy Friday. Today, you really had not missed all too much. I went and sat outside for probably like an hour and a half reading earlier today, so that was kind of fun. I'm reading and I'm almost done with. I want to finish it today. Highly Suspicious and Unfairly Cute. Like, it's YA, and so far it's just been like cute. There's funny banter. It's nothing too serious, but like it's kind of kept me hooked. It's just a high school romance. It's enemies to lovers. Oh no, I feel like it's just not all that deep, but it's cute and I've enjoyed reading it. What else have I done today? I feel like a lot of today has been spent kind of planning what I want the next couple of weeks to look like, because since now I have an end date to my unemployment and I know when I will be employed again, I want to use my time wisely, and I feel like it's a summer break that I just get, which is so exciting. I feel like I've been in a weird mood today too, which probably is also why I haven't picked up the camera yet, but I guess this is kind of funny. We can go into the backstory of it. This morning whenever I woke up, I was like scrolling through TikTok and I saw that Marshall from Love is Blind, there was like tweets resurfacing from like 2014 or something. I didn't even look too much into like what his tweets were, but it was just like I saw people talking about Marshall's tweets from 2014, and I was kind of curious, like I haven't gone through my Twitter in like forever. Like I don't think that I would have like had any tweets that were dumb or problematic or anything, but I was like, I don't know what my Twitter is like from back then, because I really don't use Twitter now, but I did through high school. And so I like go all the way down to the bottom of my Twitter and I'm just like scrolling through reading my tweets. Didn't find anything problematic, but it got me so nostalgic to like high school and like high school summers specifically, which is a strange feeling because I haven't felt that in a long time. I feel like through high school I was super nostalgic, like super sentimental, always feeling like the memories from last year are better than the ones of this year, you know, just like dramatic stuff like that. But I feel like this morning I got into this little mood of like, oh, I'm never gonna be a child again, I'm never gonna be a teenager again, like those opportunities are done. Which is so goofy because obviously I love where I'm at in life and love all the good things coming, but it is just kind of like a funny place to be in. Yeah, I just wanted to check in though before the whole day passed without me saying anything. I think we've reached kind of like a slumpy day, at least in the unemployment era, where it's like I don't know what I wish I was doing, but sitting on the couch all day isn't it. Which sounds so silly to say because there have been some days that would be like my dream is just to have the ability to be able to sit on the couch all day, but right now I just feel bored.
And it's something different. Don't know what to call it. It's something.
This is it, and I swear there ain't nothing better. We're up and we're out in the perfect weather. I just wanna run away with you. I just wanna run away with you. Don't you wanna know that the tide's changing? Don't you wanna know that the ride is yours? Don't you wanna roll away?
Step one in the effort to have a better day today than yesterday was that Zach and I were going to go hike Stone Mountain this morning when we woke up, which is going to be so great. We obviously love that, and it was raining whenever we woke up, and it's like a steep, slick rock that you basically hike up for that hike, so we decided not this morning. So instead we slept in a little bit and then ran some errands, went to Kroger to fill up on gas and get groceries, went to Whole Foods to do an Amazon return, and then I also obviously got a little something while we were at Whole Foods, including some cannolis, and dropped dropped off some donations at my thrift store, Last Chance in Decatur, came home to make some food, and then headed back out to go walk the Beltline just for a quick little jaunt on the Beltline. And then I just laid out by the pool, did like 30 minutes on one side, 30 minutes on the other side. Absolutely zoinked out whenever I was on my stomach, so that was nice. A little poolside sun nap. We love those. And it's been a good day. A good day to be outside. Like, it's a really pretty day. So definitely loving that. And I've loved having activities.
Don't you wanna roll? It's on you to decide if something changes. Say bye, 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 bye. When you're stuck in chains, well, nothing changes. I just wanna run away and with you. I said, now I just wanna run away and with you. Don't you wanna know that the tides are changing? Don't you wanna know that the ride is yours? Don't you wanna roam away? Don't you wanna roam? Don't you wanna lie by the ocean and glide to the places above? Don't you wanna roam away? Don't you wanna roam? I'll go where the wind goes, and I'll go where the wind goes. Don't you wanna know that the tides are changing? Don't you wanna know that the ride is yours?
Ended up having such a fun little like Sunday in the sun. We were able to go to Stone Mountain this morning, which you've seen by now because it was not raining. And so did the hike and then headed back home just to like have breakfast and chill for a little bit. And then we headed back to the Beltline because we really didn't spend much time there yesterday at all. And again, it was just such a beautiful day. And we ended up walking over 7.5 miles. So a whole lot of walking was done today. Stopped in a lot of like shops along the way. Didn't end up getting anything. Kind of was just more, you know, for the vibe. And then I got home and edited for a little bit. And now I'm actually going to my silent book club, which I feel like it has been absolute lifetimes since I have been here. But it's at a bubble tea place that I'm so excited for. And actually the last time that I was at this bubble tea place, like with the book club, was whenever I had just submitted applications to become school social worker. I had submitted applications to 2 different school districts. Obviously, or maybe not obviously, obvious to me, maybe you picked up on it. I never heard back from like any of them, and obviously now have a different, you know, different things coming. So it ends up all working out for the best. But I just thought that was kind of cute. As I was pulling into this parking lot, I was like, oh, I remember this place. I brought though Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban to read for Silent Book Club. So excited for that. We'll catch up after.
Don't you wanna roam away? Don't you wanna roam? Don't you wanna lie by the ocean? Lie to the places above. Don't you wanna roam away? Don't you wanna know?
I just thought about the other thing that I need to tell you, in that the apartment that I mentioned, I forget if I've mentioned it in this video, but I know I at least have in recent ones. The apartment that I mentioned that we applied for, we both got approved for and have now signed a lease for. So we'll be moving in June, which was kind of expected, still in Atlanta, and very much downsizing the apartment, which is making me feel like I've already talked about this because I remember talking about that. It will be a lot smaller. I'm really hoping to make it like homey and cozy, and I'm very excited about the apartment, and it'll just be me and Zach, and we have now signed the lease for it. So I am definitely in Atlanta until at least July 2024. That is when we were confirmed. That is very exciting. Silent Book Club was good. There wasn't as many people as there usually were, and there was fewer people that I know, like that I already knew, that were there this time, which I mean makes sense because I feel like people like myself kind of come in waves, and like I said, I haven't been here since February. So we spend an hour reading like together, but silently, like your own book, kind of like quiet reading time, like in elementary school, and then after the hour you just hang out. out. So I read Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, the illustrated version that I have. Got this wonderful like milk tea type thing. They call it the Zang Zang Special, so I don't actually know like what that is or what that means. But I'm getting the tarot one and it has been so good. I don't know what I'll do for the rest of tonight. I feel like I was so much busier this weekend than the entire like past 2 weeks combined, which I hope is making for like good montages and stuff. I hope that'll be fun. But I have worked to try to come up with like an activity for myself almost every day from like now until I actually start my job. Not every day and definitely not like all day every day, but trying to give myself like things to do, because like I said, like whenever I was talking on Friday, I just reached a point where I was like, what am I even doing? Like I have nothing to do, nobody to see. And so it's been fun to be like up and out and like actually making use of my little adult summer vacation. I have my laser hair appointment today in like an hour and 15 minutes, which I'm kind of terrified for because now it's been since early March since I've gone, because my appointment was scheduled for the first week of April whenever I ended up being in Kansas City for my grandma's funeral. And so obviously I rescheduled the laser appointment and today was the closest time that they had available at that time. And each time it goes up in intensity. So I'm just nervous for what it's gonna feel like. I don't want to experience pain. I think I have the capability to have a high pain tolerance, but like not in voluntary settings. But since it's been a second, I'm getting my underarms lasered and Brazilian lasered, and it doesn't take more than like maybe 10 minutes. And today, like I've been making sure to super duper hydrate. I'm going to take ibuprofen. I wish they would just like knock me out to do it though, so I wouldn't have to experience pain. I do still think though that any level of pain that I have felt doing the laser has been less than the pain that I felt during waxes. Waxes felt like I like genuinely would have rather passed away, but it does last for a little bit longer than the waxes, but there's no like tweezing or anything afterwards, you know, so it's different. I'm pretty sure my next one will still be 5 weeks away, but I think after that they start to spread out to 8 weeks. So it's just something to get through. I've had too much time so far this morning to think about it.
We got a brand new day. Good love is on the way. And if you take my hand, I'll walk with you to Georgia. Have you ever been in love? Dove in from high above. And if the answer's no, well then I'd like to get to know you. And though I know these lights are blinding, I will guide us home. I don't know what I've been told.
I survived. I think that it wasn't as bad as I was hyping myself up for. I think the ibuprofen really is just game changing. And then also the person I was doing it with today was like very chatty in a good way. And I feel like I was really trying hard to distract myself to like not even think about the pain, but it really didn't hurt as bad. From what she was saying, and I think they've kind of explained this to me before, is that as you progress in your laser hair treatment, your hair grows back less, which I have noticed, but it also becomes like less coarse. And so there's also just like less hairs. And so a lot of the pain from like the second session to like the 5th or 6th session is that like that hair follicle is getting dried and the hair in it's kind of getting like kind of snapped up, and that's a lot of the pain. But then as your hair gets thinner and there's less of them, that's when like the pain becomes more manageable. And even though they keep going up in the laser intensity, it doesn't necessarily keep going up in pain because there's also that like your hair strength is going down. So I was glad that she explained that to me. Like I said, I think they told me that before, but I just like didn't click, I guess. And my next one is scheduled for the end of May, so I'm good until the end of May. But afterwards I went to Marshall's because it's all wrapped up, so I'm not going to get out now, but you would have seen it in the little B-roll montage. But yesterday we went to Marshall's and Zach found a candle that he really likes. It's like a woodwick candle, a huge woodwick candle, and a scent that I guess was a favorite of his. But the line at Marshall's was like 25 people long yesterday. Like it would have been a very, very, very long wait to check out just for one candle. So Zach put the candle back and we didn't get anything yesterday. I was like, I have some free time today. So I headed back to Marshall's, found the exact same candle that he had yesterday, and I got him that candle. And then I also got 2 clearance items while I was there. Just this little like gray short sleeve tee. It's kind of cropped. It's like the crop length to where it's not gonna be cropped on me, but it's like a cropped tee just because I have a short torso. And then I also got this skirt, which is like a little wrap, like faux wrap skirt that I just think will be cool for Costa Rica whenever I go. Wear like my little white top, little skirt. So that was fun.
Weather outside is not that cold, and if you take my hand, I'll walk with you to Georgia. And I don't know what those men see, but I see you right next to me. And if you take my hand, I'll walk with you to Georgia. love will soon arrive, and when it does, then come a little closer. Have you ever seen the stars burn out into the dark, and as they go say, it was nice to know ya. And though I know these lights are blinding, I will guide us home. 'Cause I don't know what I've been told, the weather outside is not that cold. And if you take my hand, I'll walk with you to Georgia. Men see, but I see you right next to me. And if you take my hand, I'll walk with you to Georgia. I heard lovin's on the way, but I could use it right now. 'Cause I heard lovin's on the way, but I could use it right now. I don't know what I've been told, the weather outside is not that cold. And if you take my hand, I'll walk with you to Georgia.
There is something about going to Braves games that I feel like I wake up the next morning like almost hungover, but I think it's being outside specifically because it is springtime in Atlanta, and I never got allergies or anything growing up, but I think probably just like being in a different region of the US, I feel like I have the past couple of years whenever I've been in the South. But waking up this morning, like I could not breathe, I could not like see barely, I was just re-entering the world. But the Braves game yesterday ended up being really good. They like absolutely smashed Miami. I don't even remember, what are they? The Marlins, the Miami Marlins. It was like 11-0, and I'm becoming a real baseball gal. It was the first of their like little 3 series though, so I mean, I guess we'll see how it goes from here on out, but I feel like if you go 11-0, and there was so many home runs, so it was just fun because it was like watching and being like, oh, there goes another one. There goes another one. But I was remembering that I said I was gonna be like answer questions in this video and be kind of chatty, and I feel like it's been a second since I have. So some other questions that I had gotten about my job. I feel like these could be some of the like most interesting, and I'm sticking it here at the end of the video. And some more questions that I got was a bit about what kind of charges that the clients that I worked with had. And obviously I won't speak like specifically on any specific client. This is all just be like very generalizations. And then people also asked about like the environment inside of jail, and is it like adult jail? Are there gangs? Are there fights? That kind of thing. And so starting with the first one about like what kind of charges I would work with, kids could come into my facility with literally any kind of charge. So I think the smallest I've seen was person acting as a business without business license and a jaywalking charge. Got a kid locked up because he was selling water like on interstate exit, I think, which is super common in Atlanta to have like water boys, and it's just like young, and you were like 10 to 16 boys who sell water to cars on roads. But it could be like some misdemeanors as small as that up into like multiple counts of murder. In Georgia, they call the like more serious charge SB 440 charges. I don't know exactly why, but it's kind of like the 7 deadly sins. And so the SB 440 charges are, I don't know if I'm gonna know them off the top of my head: murder, aggravated assault, armed robbery, a couple doing with SA that I'm not gonna like necessarily name the name to, and those would be very common as well. I feel like my caseload throughout my years, I had quite a few kids with murder charges, I had quite a few kids with armed robbery charges, and a couple with large sexual charges. So I mean, that's something to think about whenever people want to go into anything involving the justice system or working with clients who are incarcerated, is just like truly, can you handle that? Because obviously like I got better at it and got more accustomed to it, but my clients, even though I love them very dearly, like some charges are super serious. And in Georgia, kids can be charged as adults as young as 13 years old. So there could be like 13, 14, 15-year-olds that I was working with who were facing like life, if not like 30 plus years in prison. So that's a little bit on the charges. I forget what else I said. The like environment, and like if it was like adult jail, if there definitely were gangs. I think just like in Atlanta street culture and Atlanta hoods, there is a high gang presence. I'm not gonna name like specific names, but it's probably some that you've heard of and probably some leaders that you've heard of. But many kids kids in the facility too are active members of gangs or getting initiated into gangs. But honestly, as far as like it didn't affect my work at all, but as far as it affected like the environment as a whole, just in that it was pretty kind of tribal of like who your friend groups were. You know, like you have people on your side, you have people who you don't like, but that also would happen whether or not there was gangs involved. So maybe there was more violence inside because of gang culture, but I don't really know because I don't know what it would be like without gang culture. And obviously, like I'm not one to really speak on it too much since like I personally didn't grow up surrounded by many people in gangs or anything. But while there are activities that are more prevalent in gangs and maybe there are more violent activities and more higher crime, in the kids that I worked with, it was a lot of feeling community and wanting a sense of belonging and having like big brothers who will protect you type of vibe as well. But the kids are very hush hush about it. Like you don't come out and say you're in a gang, I guess, if you're smart about it. Like most people, you know, if you ask like, oh, are you in a gang? They'd be like, what? No, when they're like kind of high up. So that's when before when I've been like, I feel like I really got to know like the inner workings of Atlanta. It is just a different culture inside jail, obviously. Oh, and then like compared to adult jail where there are fights and stuff like that, there definitely was violence inside. And that was a lot of the hard days for me, is that like witnessing or even just hearing about violence that occurs. I don't think that the juvenile is as bad as what I've heard from adult jails because it's much higher supervised, so there's much less chance to like really hurt people. I feel like in juvenile it's a lot more just like fist fighting, whereas an adult is when you start getting like what you hear in jail about like, oh, the shanks and stabbing and shivs and all of that, and a lot more like contraband in adult jails, I think. I don't know. So I definitely was in baby jail, but that also didn't mean that it was just like all fun and games, but it also was definitely baby jail. With that, I'm gonna start a new video today, and so I'm gonna end this one out. I feel like it got pretty long, which is kind of fun. Let me know if you like the long ones. I feel like we fit a lot into here. Again, thanks for sticking with me through my unemployed era. We just have a few more weeks of it left. I appreciate you so much. I hope you take some time to smile today, whatever reason it may be for, and I'll see you next time.